friends, thanks for joining me. Today we are creating this layout, the Carefree layout from the spring kit. It's more classical because it's got lots of pattern papers and elements in a more linear style. And we're using these papers which are called Embrace Each Day and the 4x6 elements. I am just following this sketch from my book where I keep all my ideas, just as a rough guide. And I've used two photos which are just a little under 5 inches tall. Excuse me. But you could adapt this to use slightly smaller photos or a landscape photo, and that would be great. You'll need some coordinating inks. I've used Distress Oxides, but you could just use normal Distress ink. And you could go pink. I've gone kind of the blue colour just because we've got boys in the photo. So maybe you could go pink if it's a girly one. And you just need this open stencil. So any stencil will do. And if you don't have one, you can improvise and use the packaging technique just to lay down some colour on that right hand side. So it's just going to poke above that main piece of paper. So again, don't get too worked up if you don't have exactly the same colours or the same stencil, because actually I'm just laying down some background work. So as you can see, I've got a nice broad stencil brush, or it's a makeup brush I should say. And I'm blending from the inside to the outside. So what I'm aiming for is that nice soft edge. So I don't want any hard edges here. So I'm just going to fill in a little bit more. So my apologies that my layout is slightly off camera there. It's difficult to scrap and not get your head into the frame, which I also do. And that's the mess that my very juicy ink, leaves behind on my desk. And I always forget, and I should leave the lid the other way around. This is the 4x6 elements paper, and you'll need to cut the bottom half of this paper because I, in fact, use one of the element cards later on, but that's in the instructions. So I naturally did use the bottom half, thankfully, or maybe that's why I ended up being able to use one of the cards. So when you trim this, if you leave the strip on there and measure off the paper, mine's probably just a little bit over 5.5 inches, just to suit my photos. So I do like to distress the edges. I've got this little distressing tool, but I'm only being posh because it's a class. Normally I would just use my fingernail to distress the edges, but you could use scissors or your distress tool just to add a little bit of texture. Now, this is one of the 3x4 cards. I'm going to use that one that you can see at the top right there, the Hope with the butterfly. I think that's a cabbage white, is it? I don't know. But I'm going to use that as a pocket. So we've got a little book plate that comes in the kit, and I thought that'd be really fun to use as a pocket. And it looks like a plain card at the moment, but we'll take our 1 inch circle punch. I'm just going to mark the centre there, and by punching out like a half circle or a semicircle, it suddenly turns it into a pocket, which I think is amazing, isn't it? So that's kind of the way it will go from my sketch. And I think I just need some more layers now. So I'm using the 4x6 elements, which is that gingham paper on the back. And I'm trying to decide, what's the best way to use my papers so that the papers don't compete with the photos too much. my photos are quite bright, and I'm sure, you know, your photos will be quite busy, and, you know, so we need something kind of fading in the background. So it's just a case of layering up now. I think I originally cut this paper to 5 3/4 inches high, and I just trimmed it down a little bit more to suit my photo. So it ends up being that 5.5 inches. And I'm going to lay the two borders or the strips together. So I've distressed both of the edges. Now, if you want to be frugal, you don't need to back the whole piece. You could layer up. So you could cut smaller strips and then layer the gingham behind the text one. That's up to you, but I was threw caution to the wind. So this polka dot paper, I just wanted to create a small border punch as a bit of a punch up the accent on the page, because it's all quite soft and pastel. It's nice to have some of that black relief. I know Julie and I have both used this paper, but I think there's plenty of paper left over to ensure that you've got enough to complete all your classes. So you just need a strip off the bottom there so that we can place that underneath. And I really love that little polka dot paper there. And I've just making a little tag to go inside of that pocket. It needs to be quite thin, just because the pockets will end up being thin. And again, I think I forgot to put that in my instructions, but I just eyeballed it. So, you know, measure your pocket. It will need to be thinner than that because by the time you've stuck it down, it will be quite thin. So just in terms of balance on my page, I am going to put my main embellishments on the right hand side. So I'm going to have my photos on the left. I'm going to have flags, tags, embellishments on the right hand side. And there's going to be just to make sure that we get the triangle. I am going to embellish the top left as well. So that will create a visual triangle around the page. But for now, I'm just trying to work out what bits can I put where, and just decide, how am I going to build that right hand side. Because the main bit is done really. It's going to feature the photos, it's got the pocket. I'll add a little bit of journaling to the right, and it's then all about decoration. And just while I'm trying to decide and percolate, I'll just carry on and cut out a few more things. Now, I wasn't keen on some of the 3x4 cards, in all honesty. I found that I'm not really keen on that butterfly paper with the black background. So I'm just going to use the reverse because I do like the reverse. It's like that peachy colour. So just pick a card that you don't like. I mean, I love the butterflies and the birds, but just that butterfly one I just don't get at all. And I'm just creating myself some tags. So I'm taking an old tag that I have, or a spare tag, and I'm just using that as the guide then to snip off the corners, as you could see earlier. Now I do have a tag tool that's by We Are Memory Keepers. It's like a little cutting tool. To be honest with you, it broke after a few weeks, and it's just as easy to use my previous old tags to do that. So don't bother with We Are Memory Keepers one because it's a little bit plasticky and shoddy. So as I say, I'm just trying to decide how I'm going to embellish and lay up that right hand side. And you'll see from the finished photos that I move that doily to the left. So it's all about balance for me. Try as I might, I try and make things as balanced as I can. I think that's just me. I like things in balance. So while I think about that, I'm just going to add the stitching. So I wanted some stitching on that background. I've stitched my pocket onto the page. You could use double-sided tape. And I've also zigzag stitched the border into place. So I've glued it all together and then just added the stitching. So I also because I wanted the tag to go above the border. So you can see I've also put that tag into place and then done the stitching. Yeah, some of those papers are just a little bit too loud for me. But they're nice because they have got lovely patterns on the back sides of them, as it were. So you can see there I'm making a little tear detail. So I've just torn a little bit and it's literally about 1/2 inch. Not done anything too fussy, and then just stapled it into place. Again, it's not necessary, but I think it's these little details that really bring your layout to life. So hopefully that's straight. I'm terrible for getting things straight. Now, I don't know if you did our previous classes, but I did a similar sort of stretch layout before. I'm hoping it's not the same because I really forgot about that. But it just reminded me, because I'd only stuck down the edges, that you could tuck more ephemera, journaling and photos in that top of the border there, the main part. Because I haven't stuck it down. So, if you did need more photos or a letter or journaling or whatever, you could actually tuck that in there, and the design would support that completely. So that would be a good upgrade if you need it. So there's that book plate. I'm just gluing mine down. Again, if I'd have thought about it, we could have had some brads and then attached that before we sewed it down. But as it is, I think it just kind of brings a little bit of texture to the page, highlights that journal word. So there's that card I mentioned earlier. So this is on the 4x6 card sheet that we cut first of all. And because I've cut the bottom off, I've got this available now to use as some decoration. I mean, I don't do pocket life, so I never use the 3x4 or the 4x6 cards as intended. But I find with the Simple Stories collections lately, they have these lovely layered elements already for us. So just by fussy cutting, we've got that lovely layered look that we're after, just by doing a little bit of cutting out. So I like that. So you can see I'm just going to arrange some die cuts up there. I mean, this is where the fun is for me, that you can take the little bits and pieces and layer up. Again, because Julie and I work apart, we just have to consider, what she's used, what have I used, and because there were flowers, it's quite difficult to articulate, or maybe, which ones we've used. So, if you want to change yours about and use pink flowers, or, that, you just go ahead and do that. Don't worry too much as, it's an exact copy of ours. Again, with the tickets and the little stickers there, just switch them about. I think they'll all obviously coordinate, and I think all the little words and the phrases were just perfect for most layouts. So go ahead and switch things about as you wish and make it your own. I'll just use some of those little fabric leaves that have come in the kit, just because they're so pretty. I think I had intended to use some more. But again, I don't want to use everything and leave Julie with nothing. So I was a bit more frugal than you have to be. It's your kit and you can make it your own, which would be absolutely great. So I'm just arranging my title just so that I know where to put those stickers. I wasn't sure how to arrange those tickets and the little butterfly. So you can see I move them from left to right, right to left. And in the end, they go on the left-hand side. And I'm talking about balance again, really, for me. So I tend to want things that flow from left to right. So in my head, whether it's right or not, having the longer ticket and a shorter ticket and then the other sort of ephemera will lead my eye to the right hand side of the page. So I'm going to start with the photos on the left, and then my eye is going to be drawn to that right hand side, so sweeping across the whole page. So that's where they do end up. So but again, you could use tickets, stickers, you could add more die cuts here, because there is a lot in the kit. And I'm just going to add one of the little perspective hearts. So for those that are new here, I know lots of you will have used perspectives before, but just in case you're new, I do like to take the vinyl off the back. Now there's going to be vinyl on the front and back of most of these. So just be sure to take the vinyl off and be careful, when you pull them off. And then I use Beacon's 3-in-1 glue to stick down my perspectives. Glossy accents will work perfectly, as will other kind of clear glues. You need a good strong glue. I just like the Beacons because it's not too expensive. You get that big bottle here in the UK, and I think it used to be about 2 for £8, but I think that has gone up quite a bit. So I think they're about 2 for £12 at Amazon. But you can stick, as you can see here, I've stick those fabric glees down with it. And they get a bit stringy. So I know I've mentioned this before, that the glue, it's just really pliable and easy to use, but you do get these little strings which can be annoying, so just be careful if you do use it. Not that I'm saying that you should use it at all, but it was just, I get asked that a lot. So I'm just gluing those embellishments into place. And again, I've got some perspectives that I've now sorted out. So those little hearts and the little butterflies. Love those little butterflies. So I think we'll need some of those in the shop after this kit goes out. And just arrange them, just eyeball it. So even though you're doing a class, I do think, you can customise the class or your layout to suit you. And, you probably come up with a better idea than me. But what I'm trying to make sure is it's not too heavy on the left-hand side, because my photos are there and the right-hand side's quite empty. There's quite a lot of space over there, so I'm kind of sending my embellishments to the right hand side for that balance. And if you notice, it's kind of at the bottom as well, look, so all my layering and tickets and so on are at the bottom. I've got the embellishments top left, so your eye will have to go across the page and look all around to catch everything. So there is still that openness at the top there. So again, as I say, you can leave. I've stitched mine down now, but you could leave yours open if you want to put some ephemera in there, as I mentioned. And now I'm just going to add on those final perspectives. So I'm not going to make you watch all of this, but you'll see I'm just gluing them on. And I'm aiming for small clusters, so not too busy, and I tend to go up in a line, so in my head all my little perspectives will be going up. And I just added the Nouveau drops in between, so do that last, so we don't make that fatal mistake of knocking Nouveau drops before we finished. But you can see there I've added them in little clusters around my embellishments. And I think they're just a great way of finishing off your page and adding a bit of detail. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll hopefully see you soon. Take care. Bye.